On the programme. Dipti's back with us here on set. Dipti, you're starting with this terrible story which we've been hearing about all weekend, really. Canada, country really just mourning the deaths of these young ice hockey players killed in a bus crash on Friday. Pretty horrific, this, wasn't it? That's
right. 15 members and staff of the Humboldt Broncos junior hockey team died on late on Friday when their bus collided with a semi-trailer. They were actually on their way to a game. So very, very tragic. The Humboldt Journal, their local paper, has paid tribute to these players, and among them, to those who died, among them a radio reporter whose job was to do the play-by-play of the games, a 12th grader, and a player who was kept on life support so his organs could be donated. The Globe and Mail, a Canadian national paper, says a team, a town, and a country united by grief. This is what they're saying to describe the memorial service that was held late on Sunday in Humboldt for the victims of that bus crash. They explained that the Humboldt Arena was packed well beyond its 2,000-person capacity, including Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who also attended, where he talked about losing his own brother in an avalanche back when that brother was 23. Doctors interviewed by the Globe and Mail at the hospital treating the players say they were given the code orange. Many of them had never experienced having to deal with such mass casualties.
And perhaps not surprisingly, a lot of fundraising going on for those victims and their families as well, of course, an online fundraiser.
It's a GoFundMe campaign. As of Sunday evening, they raised over $4 million for the victims and their families. The Toronto Star reports that this fundraiser is now the largest campaign Canada has ever seen in terms of amount raised for those victims.
Let's talk about something else now. We're going to talk about Syria. Here we are, front page of the Times of London. A lot of angers about this suspected chemical attack on the Damascus suburb of Douma.
Well, there you have it. Trump warning Assad after that gas attack that you will have to pay the price for that. Dozens of people, including many children. This photo has actually been published by the Times, Independent, and other British dailies on their front page with a stern warning. Of course, this after that attack in eastern Ghouta, the last rebel-held enclave of Syria. This attack has also sparked global condemnation. That's according to Arab News, a Saudi daily newspaper. They're also going with a harrowing picture of young victims from that suspected chemical attack.
A lot of outrage from cartoonists as well, you found.
Well, very angry reactions, Stuart, to the audacity of this attack. Like this cartoonist here with the bear representing Russia, really stomping over eastern Ghouta, presumably with Bashar al-Assad on its back. It says it all for this cartoon. Russia is just as complicit as the al-Assad government in this attack. The UN has, of course, convened an emergency meeting today, but for many it'll be much of the same response from the Syrian leader. Here you see him taking a leaf out of Russian leader Vladimir Putin's guide to international politics. It wasn't me. It had nothing to do with me. It's an international conspiracy.
And this cynicism, if you like, about the international response is also echoed in the opinion pages of some of the American press.
Well, the editors at the Wall Street Journal have penned a really interesting article, really lambasting this Twitter response. Donald Trump has certainly defeated Assad, they say, on Twitter. The editors warn against what they call outrage by Twitter, evoking, for instance, the futility of the Michelle Obama-led Bring Back Our Girls campaign against Boko Haram in Nigeria. Trump's Twitter response is, for the Journal, typical of the contradiction between his rhetorical foreign policy goals and the means he's actually willing to take to go and do something about them. He wants to be seen, for instance, in this case, as stronger than Obama on chemical weapons, but so far he's actually physically done nothing to show that.
Something different we haven't talked about at all on the programme as yet. The US actor Bill Cosby is due to return to court for a retrial on sexual assault.
The famed comedian does return to court this Monday to face sexual assault charges. You'll remember his first trial about 10 months ago ended inconclusively. Well, the New York Times explains that this time it is different for many reasons. For instance, instead of one accuser, the prosecutors will be bringing 5 women who will be allowed to testify against Bill Cosby, which experts say could help bolster the case against him. His legal team, for their part, will be bringing a new defense witness, a high-profile high-profile woman. Now, perhaps most importantly, as both the New York Times and this website Deadline explain, this is the first sexual assault trial since the Me Too movement. Cosby will be a sort of litmus test to see how easy it is or how we can successfully prosecute high-profile men accused of these crimes.
And finally from Dipti, a bit of a nostalgia from Prince Charles touring Australia.
This is according to the British tabloid The Mirror. They report that he was left, quote, red-faced after being reunited with a royal fan in Queensland. Her name is Layla Sherwood. She met Prince Charles back in 1979 as a 14-year-old. She'd actually skipped school to meet him and stolen a kiss from the royal. And that kiss, as you see in this picture here, made the front pages. Well, nearly 40 years later, she met with him, although I think this time she didn't get a kiss, but a warm handhold.
It's not quite the same,
It's not
is it?
quite the same.
No, if you've had another kiss. All right, thanks a lot, Dipti with the papers on France 24.